Hello and welcome to Rathod Science Academy. Today in this session we are going to see current affairs of 20th September 2025. So let's get started with our discussion and let us see the first important article. So see the title guys. Two Assam Rifles Jawans killed in highway ambush in Manipur. So what is this article talking about? So first one is it is about Assam Rifles. And second one is in which state it happened in Manipur. And these Assam Rifles Jawans killed in highway. Okay. So this article is talking about two important things. First one is Assam Rifles were killed in state of Manipur. So what is happening in Manipur? In Manipur, ethnic conflict is happening. It is between two groups. First one is Meiteis and next one is Kukis. Okay, let us see a brief background. What is this issue? Okay, many of you are like new, right? So in Manipur, we have hilly regions. So actually, if you see map of India, so you know here in northern part, we have Himalayas, right? So these Himalayas had been continued as Purvanchal in this northeastern part. And this northeastern part is mostly hilly region. Okay, so hilly region is dominant by especially forest. And even one more reason why we have this lush green forest in this northeastern region is monsoons. So here if you see this is our equator and this is our 23.5 degrees north. Okay, so here what happens, here we have Arabian Sea, here we have Bay of Bengal. So whenever monsoon winds are entering into India, it is divided into two branches. One is Arabian Sea branch and one is Bay of Bengal branch. So this Bay of Bengal branch, after hitting of this Purvanchal, it will be diverting in this side. Okay. So because of this, in this northeastern part, we have very good rainfall. And in fact, we have very heavy rainfall in this region. And especially heaviest rainfall region are Cherrapunji and as well as, what is one more area? So Cherrapunji area in Meghalaya is the highest rainfall receiving region. Why? Because there we have three hilly regions, Garo, Kazi and Jaintia hills. So what happens? So winds will go and hit like that. Here we have funnel effect. So because of this funnel effect, there will be more rainfall in this Cherrapunji region of this Meghalaya. So whenever we have more rainfall, obviously we have forest. That too, thick rain, evergreen forest we have. And in this northeastern region, we have very good forest. And who will live in these forest regions? Scheduled tribe people will live in this forest region. So this concept is clear, right? And now let us apply this concept in this Manipur. So if you go to Manipur here, we have hilly regions. And between hills, what is this region called as? Valley region, right? Valley region, or we have plain region. So who will be living in the plains? Normal people. And who will be live on this forest or the tops of the hills? We have tribal people. So actually we have ethnic conflict in Manipur between Meiteis and Kukis. So actually this Meiteis lives in this valley region. They are living in this plains region. And these are Kukis. Kukis are scheduled tribes. They live in top region like hilly regions or in the forest region. So what is the issue in this Manipur here is this almost all this northeastern states of our country are sharing boundary with different countries, right? So here we have Bangladesh and here we have Bhutan, here we have Myanmar. So always there is a issue of entry of foreign people into our country because of instability in other countries. So even we know that Bangladesh, it is having its own political instability, and recently Nepal is also in that condition, and even between this Myanmar and India also lots of times we have free movement regime, so that free movement of people will happen. So because of this, there is a problem of illegal migration in this region. So whenever illegal migration happens, there's nothing but the foreign nationals who are entering into India without valid documents. Then what happens? Whatever the demography which is present in that region will be getting affected or not. So this is the one cause of concern for these people, the first one. And second one is insurgency. Insurgency is nothing but the group, they are militant groups, they want to overthrow the government. And actually for this insurgent groups in this northeast, they will be getting arms and money supply will be done by this China. Because China wants to occupy this Arunachal Pradesh. It will be easy for China to occupy this entire Arunachal Pradesh if they are supporting arms and as well as funding for this insurgent groups. And next one here is the recent issue or recent violence, why it is happening in Manipur from 2023 is, the reason is reservation. Because of this reservation policy. The third important reason is reservation policy. What is this reservation policy? It is nothing but here Meiteis, they are in this plain region, so they are well developed, and even in the politically also, in different political things like MPs, MLAs, they have been good representation. So now these Meiteis, they are asking for this reservation in education as well as jobs. So because of this, what happens? It will be affecting this Kuki community, right? Because they are STs. So because of this, there is ethnic violence which is happening between Kukis and Meiteis because of this reservation policy. They are saying that why these Meiteis need to get this ST status. They are already well represented in almost all spheres. So you should not give this representation. But these Meiteis are the people who are there in this legislation now, who are making laws. So because of this, they are going to come up with the acts, bills which are providing that reservation for them. So because of this, the conflict which is going on between Meiteis and Kukis, guys. Okay, so here whenever the issue will happens between these two communities or ethnic conflict, can we ensure law and order, proper functioning of government or governance? No. So because of this issue, there is law and order problem here. So because of this, our central government imparted this Assam rifles in this area to maintain law and order in that region. So what is happening again? Eruption of violence. And now these people, they attacked that Assam rifles and they killed this Assam rifles related Jawans. So because of this, this is in news. Okay, is that clear? Okay, now let us see what is a present thing, what is happening in present in Manipur. So a convoy of 33rd Battalion of Assam Rifles, a paramilitary force under this Indian Army was ambushed, that is nothing but attacked by unidentified militants on National Highway 2. And that led to the loss of life of Jawans. So here whenever this, do you know this convoy? Convoy is nothing but the vehicles which are mainly used by this military people to move from one place to another place. So in many movies, if there is any bomb blast related movies, if you have seen, so you can identify that these convoys will be moving one by one, like 4 to 5 vehicles moving in a line. So suddenly what happens, one suicide bomber will come and he will be committing suicide. So that what happens, every vehicle will be getting affected. So like that is called as convoy. Now the convoy of 33rd Battalion of this Assam Rifles were attacked and many Jawans, they lost their life. So here, if you see the details, they are saying that because of ongoing Meitei-Kuki clashes since 2023, because of this, around 250 people had been died from these communities, and around 60,000 people were displaced, and around 4,000 people, they were looted the arms. And actually, they are saying that this issue which happened in this Meitei dominated areas, and they are bordering this Kuki Zo areas. And next one here is, these are the areas where the frequent clashes will happen. So in this area only this attack had been happened. And actually there are some suspicions like Meitei might be attacked or Kuki might be attacked, or there is one insurgent group called as UNLF, that is Meitei based group, that had been attacked. Or there are some other people are saying that yes, Chinese arms supply are happening here. Because of this, that is the main reason for this attack. So like that, different suspicions are there, but till now we didn't get the what is the exact reason for this, who attacked on these people. Okay, so because of this, what will be the impact? Again, there will be increasing of tensions between government and as well as these groups. And again, there will be issue of law and order, guys. And again, there will be the severe implications, severe restrictions on the movement of people. That will leads to the loss of economy, and as well as that will leads to the increasing of tensions among that locals. Okay, now let us see the next article. See the title: 57,000 crore rupees drainage master plan unveiled to solve flood woes in Delhi. So, what is this article talking about? Drainage master plan. So, why we have to focus on drainage? So, recently in Hyderabad also heavy rain is happening, right? So, because of this, what is the problem? Roads are filled with water, and to be frank, roads became a river, right? So even vehicles are moving away, whatever the items are there, even cars, even humans, whatever it may be, they are flooded in that, right? So actually the important problem in this urban areas, especially if you take urban areas, and to be specific, metropolitan cities, in metropolitan city, the problem here is flash floods. So even if you are getting a very small rain also, it is leading to this flash floods in these urban areas. What might be the reason regarding this flash floods? The important reason behind this flash floods. So have you ever compared these urban areas with rural areas? In rural areas, if there is a very heavy rainfall also, we will be not getting this kind of floods in rural areas. Why? What is the reason? Why if there is a small rainfall which happens, it is leading to floods in urban areas? Yes, availability of soil, so that the percolation of water will happen. But in urban areas, wherever you go, we have concretization. We are using concrete, cement. So because of this, there is no space for the water to seep into ground. Next, other reasons. What about water bodies? So in rural areas, so water will go and they will join a nearby lake or a pond. But in urban areas, can we see that? So there will be encroachment, illegal occupying of water bodies is happening. So within 6 to 7 months, that water body will not be there. There will be a big apartment, right? So here there is illegal encroachment of water bodies is happening, so that there is no place for the water to go and to join. Next. Yes, very good. No proper drainage system. So actually the problem in this metropolitan cities is there is rapid urbanization, and there is increasing of population steadily. So because of rural to urban migration, for example, it may be for education opportunities or health facilities or better standard of living, livelihood, whatever it may be. So people from rural areas, they are migrating to this urban areas, right? So because of this, there is rapid improvement or increasing of population in these areas. So because of increased rapid population, so for example, this is the area of a city. So here the population is not enough. So what happened? We'll go for spreading of these urban areas, right? So whenever we are spreading of urban areas within a very short time, there is no proper planning. So if there is no proper planning, we'll be getting this kind of problems. And even the drainage system is not updated. It's like very old drainage system. And next important problem here is, even though we are having certain drainage system, there will be water logging happens. Why water logging will happens? So there is no proper solid waste management. So even if you go to any drainage line, so you can see lots of plastic, lots of solid that is there. So because of this, the clogging of water happens. The water will not move freely. They will be getting stuck. Okay. So these are the major problems which are leading to this flash floods in metropolitan cities. Now you guys tell me what can be done. What measures you can give? For example, you are a municipal officer now, and monsoon is going to be started, already started, but I am giving a case study. Monsoon is going to be started, and whenever this monsoon starts, you will be getting this problem of flash floods, and people are calling you continuously that my entire this drainage water came into my home, what should I do? And they are started doing protests before you. And what measures that you can take now? Will you sit silently and let them go, water is not coming into my home? Will you think like that? Next. First one is we have to go for better solid waste management. We have to go for take of proper rules and regulations regarding how we are managing the waste. And next one is better waste collectment at the source itself. So where this waste is created, there itself you have to collect the waste so that you can go for waste to energy projects or like better management. Next, we have to go for cleaning of drains before the starting of monsoon itself. Yes, you have to remove any substance which is creating any clogging or not. Next, uh, everiki. Okay, next. So we have to go for expanding of this drainage system, and in the long term we have to go for stopping of encroachment of these water bodies, and we have to go for rejuvenation of water bodies. Okay, so actually this mission Hydro of this Telangana state is focusing on encroachments. They are going for demolishing of illegal encroachments nearby these water bodies. That is one important reason why we are going to control these flash floods in the future, because it is one important steps to control these flash floods in Hyderabad. Next, think. Okay, now this case study is about Delhi. So you may get this similar kind of case studies in your ethics, guys. You are a municipal officer, monsoon going to be start, and that region is well known for this flash floods, and many people will be getting affected. So as a municipal commissioner, what steps that you are going to take? What is your action, and what options you have? Evaluate option. So in this way only you'll be getting case studies based on the current affairs case. Okay, you have to be ready. So don't blindly just read the articles. So think what can be done. Think or search some innovative methods like how other countries are doing. So actually China came up with one innovative method called as sponge cities. So through these pond cities, whatever the water is there, that will be directly seeping into the soil rather than going on the roads. So you can implement that kind of innovative technologies because you are this new generation, new blood, new ideas. You are belonging to this technology world. So you have to find out certain alternatives for each and every problem in our society. Okay, so I'll be giving you one work, guys. So do this. So list out what are the problems there in our society first. List out what are the problems there in our society, problems there in our economy, okay, problems there in our governance, and try to find out the solutions. I want technological solutions because with technology everything is possible, right? There is nothing impossible by using of technology. So here use whatever the websites that you can use and try to find out only technological solutions for the problems in our society, because this kind of questions you can get in your interview, guys. So interview questions is based on your personality, like whether you are having this deep understanding of society or not, and what kind of solutions we can come up. So if you have any innovative solutions, you can give them in that time of interview so that you can get a good marks, guys. So even 5 to 6 marks difference in interview will change your rank and as well as your cadre. So don't give any chance in any stage to lose your marks. Okay, try to find out this. So this will be useful for writing your essay and as well as your mains answers. Don't forget, guys. So even if you're spending 4 to 5 hours on this, spend. So tomorrow is Sunday, so spend on this and try to get some ideas about your society. Learn about what is India and what are the problems we are having, and try to get that solutions, because after getting into services, that is the thing that you have to do, implementing of things, and you have to find the better solutions for the problems that are there in our society. So for that only government is recruiting you, right? So from now onwards, be on that work. Okay, yeah, now let us see this article. Union and Delhi governments have joined hands to find a lasting solution to national capital's long problem, that is water logging and flood disruptions, by unveiling a drainage master plan. So actually Delhi is facing lots of problems regarding this water logging and as well as flash floods, and they are going to come up with a master plan in this Delhi regarding drainage. And actually, they came up. Actually, this Delhi drainage is divided into three basins now. So here they are going to be managed by 8 agencies, and they are going for upgrading of whatever the sewer systems they have, and they are going for desilting. Desilting is nothing but whatever the waste that is there in this drainage. So have you ever seen normally in rural areas we will be having a small lane for this drainage water to go, and frequently after 2 months or 3 months, if you remove that, there will be some sand soil which is there in that. So that is called as silt. So we have to remove that silting. Why? Because whenever the floods happens, what happens in that flood water, because of this flow of water, because of kinetic energy of water, it can bring whatever it is there in that way, and that will become sediments, right? So we have to go for removal of this, then only we can maintain proper flow of drainage water in that drains. So they are going for desilting, and they are going for expansion of this drainage system as well, so that they can handle this urban runoff. And one is they are also focusing on rain harvesting mechanisms and also nature based solutions, like they are going for wetlands restoration. Wetlands are nothing but nearby ponds, nearby lakes, whatever it may be, they are going for restoration of them, so that whatever the excess water which is there, they can occupy this excess water. And they want to divert excess water to lakes and as well as water bodies nearby, so that they can decrease this water logging. Okay. Yeah, so what are the immediate impacts? The first one is they are focusing on reducing of 50 percentage of water logging hotspots. Especially in some areas we can see like water logging will happens every year. They are called as low lying areas. So in news, if you watch the news, they will be saying that low tattu prantal. They are nothing but low lying areas. So these areas will be having always threat of this flash floods. So they are focusing on reduction of 50% of water logging in these hot spots within 1 to 3 years. And they also want to reduce flood related accidents. So what happens in floods? Loss of infrastructure. Whatever the items that are there in our home, they will be going on. Yes or no? Lots of videos will be showing that. Even sometimes humans will be also going in that flooded water. And even what happens normally, recently in Hyderabad also 4 people they were missed in trains. Do you know this? 4 people, and even till today the dead bodies have not been identified. So as you all know that on these roads also we have drainage pits. If suddenly that drainage pit had been opened, so can we know that where this drainage pit is there in that water? So they'll go and they will fall in that, and they will be going along with that flooded water. And even sometimes we can't identify their dead bodies. They were searching also, but no identification. So in that way here, what happens? Because of this flooded water, it also causes loss of life. And not only that, it will also causes traffic queues. So you can see, can we move properly on in this flooded water? No, for sure. So because of this, it also causes traffic jams. So they want to reduce it by 30% in 5 years. And they also came up with a long term plan for 30 years. They want to make this Delhi flood resilient within 30 years, the target. I don't know whether we'll reach it or not. And next one is they are also focusing on integration with this Yamuna rejuvenation plan. So actually, you know that this river Yamuna will be flowing near this Delhi and Delhi surroundings. So here, if they are going for this rejuvenation of this Yamuna, we can divert this flooded water into that river also. So they are also planning this. Okay, so these are the short term and as well as long term plan under this drainage model of Delhi. Okay, now let us see the next article. Title says 474 registered unrecognized parties taken out of EC's list. What is this article talking about? It is talking about election commission. First one is election commission. It is talking about registered unrecognized political parties. Very, very important topic. Okay, so this article is talking about the first one, ECI. What is the full form of ECI? Election Commission of India. And it is saying that we are removing or removed. Okay, we removed 474 registered unrecognized political parties. So this article is saying that ECI removed 474 registered unrecognized political parties. Okay, so now what you have to see, the first area that you have to see is what is this registered unrecognized political parties. The first important thing, what are they? First you have to know that. And after that you have to see why this step is taken by ECI. Why? So what happens if registered unrecognized political parties are like that only? You have to see why. And next one is you have to see what is the impact of this. And next you have to see whether ECI is performing its role and responsibility to the point or not by removing this registered unrecognized political parties under the list. So before that you have to know about what is a political party and you have to know what are the types of political party. Okay, clear? So first you have to know what is a political party. What is a political party? Examples of political parties that you know: BJP, Congress, CP, SRCP, BRS, Janasena, AP parties are not saying. Okay, so what is a political party? Normally, what do you mean by that? It is a group of people who are having same agenda, same motive. They will be forming a political party and they will try to rule. Okay, based on the election, if they won in the elections, they will now start this governance process, right? Okay, and how many types of parties you have? You said about Janasena, you said about YSRCP, you said about Congress, you said about BJP. So all these are same political parties. There are some which are there in this states, some are like national wide. For example, BJP, Congress are national wide, and as you said, YSRCP, BRS, they are state. That means in political parties we have state political parties and national political parties. Okay, we have national political parties and we have state political parties. But there is certain criteria to get this status of national political parties. Okay, let us see that criteria. Okay, if you see here, there is certain criteria when we can call a particular political party as a national political party or a state political party. So here national political party means that party should secure at least 6% of valid votes in Lok Sabha, or it has to win in 4 states in assembly. The first criteria is in Lok Sabha elections it has to secure 6% of votes, or at least it had to win this election in assemblies, that is in states, at least in 4 states. And second one is it must win 4 seats in Lok Sabha. Okay, it has to get at least 4 seats in Lok Sabha. And next one is it has to win 2% of seats in Lok Sabha from at least 3 different states in latest general elections. Okay, so here actually UPSC asked question in 2022 based on what is the criteria for a political party, that is national political party and state political party. You have to learn that criteria, guys. So first one is at least 6% and next one is 4 states, or they have to win 4 seats. And next one here is at least 2% of seats in Lok Sabha from at least 3 different states in latest general elections. And if we call it as a state or regional political party, so party should secure 6% of votes in assembly. Here I am not talking about Lok Sabha, it is assembly. And they have to win 1 Lok Sabha seats for every 25 seats, or at least 2 seats in legislative assembly. Second criteria is 1 Lok Sabha seat for every 25 seats. And next one is at least 2 seats in legislative assembly. And third one is they has to win minimum of 3% of total number of seats in legislative assembly. So this is the criteria. If this criteria is satisfied, then that political party is called as a national political party or state political party. Okay, now let us go into our topic. What is our topic? That is registered unrecognized political parties. Let us see that story now. Okay, so this article is saying that Election Commission of India announced a delisting of 474 registered unrecognized political parties as a part of phase 2 of its electoral cleanup device, bringing the total number of such removals to 1808 within 2 months. So actually this electoral cleanup drive had been started 2 months ago. From this is second time. So here are ECI coming up with removal of unregistered political parties. So in these 2 months, you are going to remove around 808 political parties. Okay, so now let us see what is this unrecognized political parties. So actually these political parties, they are either newly registered political party with Election Commission of India, or they have not secured enough percentage of votes in assembly or general elections. If it has to meet the criteria of national political party or regional political party, they have to get at least 6% of votes, right? So these are the parties they have not secured enough percentage. That means 6% of votes they didn't get. Okay, and sometimes they never contested in the elections. So they just registered, but one time also they never contested in elections. Such kind of political parties are registered unrecognized. So first one here is they have recently or newly registered. Second criteria is they didn't get the proper percentage of votes, they get less than 6% normally. And third one is they registered but they never ever participated in elections. So they are called as registered unrecognized political parties. And they also get these common symbols. Okay, so now why this Election Commission of India is removing this? So actually the reason behind this is, the first one is financial reporting lapses. So according to Representation of People's Act, which mainly says that we have to go for auditing of accounts of a political party. But these unrecognized political parties will never go for audit of their political party, and they will not submit the report for this ECI. Then they will be removed. And second important reason is money laundering and tax evasion. Do you know this money laundering? Converting of black money into white money. What is black money? Unaccounted money or on the money on which tax is not paid is called as black money. And we are converting that black money into white by using this unrecognized political parties. Okay, that is a one important thing. And next one here is, there are more than 200 cases they had been identified since 2023 that these parties, they are receiving funds without any activity, and they are routing them through this electoral bonds. So because of this, they are doing some illegal activities by registering as a political party. So because of that, they are removing them. And this one here is, they are also linked to Hawala transactions. Have you seen this Shivaji movie? Rajnikant's Shivaji movie. In that movie, what he'll do? He'll collect money, and just there will be one note, currency note. On this, they will be having a number. So if they are saying that number, what happened? They will be getting money in the dollars. Do you know this last scene? So that is called as Hawala transactions. There are also some allegations that this unrecognized political party is also involving in this Hawala transactions. Okay. So because of all these reasons, yes, EC, that is Election Commission, is removing this. So is that a right step or not? Yes, what is the role and responsibility of Election Commission of India? To ensure fair and free elections in our country. So if there are lots of members of this unrecognized political parties which are registered, is that good for our democracy? Illegal activities are going through this, right? It is not right. So here, as a role and responsibility of ECI, ECI is removing that to ensure free and fair elections in our country. Clear? Now let us see the next article. See the title, guys. A climate health vision with lessons from India. So what is this article talking about? Lessons from India. That means it is talking something about some programs and projects which have been implemented in India, which are related to climate, right? So this article is talking about climate related programs Indian government came up with, which are the lessons for other countries. So this is the one proud article that we have to see, guys. And this topic is important from which subject? Environment and ecology, which comes under GS paper 3, and as well as Who implemented these programs and policies? Our government. So it is also important from governance from GS paper 2, guys. Okay, now let us see this article. So recently Brazil hosted 2025 Global Conference on Climate and Health. So here in this conference, around 90 countries they participated, and actually they came up with a plan called as Billion Health Action Plan. And actually this action plan we are going to launch from this COP 30 onwards. So we are going to have this COP, that is Conference of Parties. It is nothing but meeting. In this meeting we are going to come up with the climate goals that we have to take for the next year to control this climate change. And this is going to be happen in this November 2025, and we are going to come up with this plan in that conference. So they said that India came up with lots of steps and we have to learn the lessons from this India. Okay, and actually this plan which mainly defines the global agenda on climate and health. We have to focus on climate and as well as the health of the people, and let us learn from the lessons of India. So that is this conference main theme. So if you see the details, it mainly says that this vision mainly advocates for institutionalized, health-anchored climate governance. And actually, they said that health, it is not a peripheral concern, but a central lens for climate action. And they said that actually India came up with the welfare programs and policies, and they divide into three main pillars. There are the three pillars. So first pillar they said is strategic prioritization. So always whenever we are launching any scheme, we are focusing on climate policies and we are focusing on the health outcomes. That is the first thing they said. And second one is procedural integration. So we are embedding health assessment with climate decisions. And third one is participatory implementation. That is nothing but whenever we are coming up with any scheme, we want to mobilize this community. That is nothing but the local people. If local people are not involving in that, obviously that program will be not a success. So these are the three things India is focusing on: health and as well as climate. So if you see what are the programs you are talking about. Okay, the first program here is PMUY. I said in one article that India came up with this Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana and Ujala scheme. Ujala is about LED lights and Ujjwala is about providing of LPG cylinders to this BPL, that is below poverty line families, under a subsidized rate. So actually the first one is through this PM Ujjwala Yojana, government is focusing on providing of clean cooking fuel, and our government distributed around 10 crore plus LPG connections since 2016 onwards. So we are reducing household air pollution. So this household air pollution is important reason for 1.6 million annual deaths in India. And even through this LPG cylinders, we also reduced carbon dioxide emissions by 15 to 20 million tons yearly. So here we are integrated health along with the climate, right? So we are saving the lives of people along with climate improvement or decreasing of carbon dioxide emissions. The first thing they said. And next one is Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. You know about the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, right? So initially when it was launched, even our Prime Minister also, there were lots of images of Prime Minister. He's having broomstick in his hand, became viral at that time in social media. 2014. Very good. So actually here we came up with this Swachh Bharat Abhiyan in year 2014. So where around 11 crore plus people they participated in this program. Especially we are focusing on open defecation. That is nothing but open defecation is okay. So we are now going to use this bathrooms instead of the open fields to defecate. And because of this, what happens? Do we have any advantage on health? Yes, what happens if suddenly floods happens is what happens normally these people will go and defecate around nearby these lakes. If suddenly rainfall happens, what happens that defecated thing will be going and will be mixing with water. And again people will go to that lake to bring the water and drink. So because of that what happens? There will be the spread of diseases. So because of this banning or stopping of open defecation, we can improve the sanitation and even we can control waterborne diseases. Okay, again there is focusing on health, right? And even what happened, we are controlling the pollution in the nearby water bodies. So we are focusing on environment and as well as health. And even next one is we are also focusing on groundwater reducing of groundwater contamination because of this open defecation, and even we are curbing this methane gas emissions from this waste. So in this way again we are focusing on climate and as well as health of the people. And this one is PM Poshan. You know about this midday meals program. So what is midday meals program? Especially in the government schools, children will be getting hot cooked meals in the afternoon along with one boiled egg, right? So actually what happens here, whenever we are focusing on this portion or like midday meals, so there they'll be trying to provide natural based food which will be grown nearby areas, right? Locally available food they will be focusing on. So because of that, that will be improving nutrition in the people, and as well as we are going for agroclimatic resilience against drought. So locally available, normally we'll call it as natu seeds like that. So if you are growing that, that will be obviously resilient in this droughts. So they can be grown in any conditions, right? So because of this we are focusing on agro climate based resilient agriculture, and as well as we are focusing on nutrition. And not only that, at least for getting of the food, the children will be going to the schools, they will be getting even education, improvement of literacy, and we can also focus on sustainable farming methods. And this one is we have this MG Narega scheme. What is this? Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. We came up in year 2005. Okay, so actually this program will provide 100 days of guarantees employment for unskilled labor in rural areas. Normally you might have heard about this Karu Panikellam. That is nothing but this MG Narega itself. And even they will be getting minimal wages also under this scheme. And actually what they'll focus on water restoration, water conservation, and they are focusing on planting of trees across the roads like that. So they are also focusing on again environment restoration. So what happens here is every year around 5 to 6 crore Indians will be getting work under this scheme, and there will be improved health, rural health, livelihood, and even ecosystem. And we can also fight against floods, droughts, disasters in that region. So because of this, what are the plans we are focusing on? We are taking into consideration both health and as well as our environment. So these are the plans which have been set in that so and so meeting, guys. Okay, if you see here, the key lessons what we have to learn from India is, the first one is political leadership and farming. So whatever the policies succeeded or came up by our government, they are focusing on empowerment tools. For example, they said about Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana, Ujjala scheme. And next one here is community and culture anchoring. So by this initiative like Swachh Bharat Abhiyan and as well as PM Poshan and as well as MG Narega, who are participating in this? The local people, community people. There is also leading to this community empowerment as well. And next one is we are also focusing on institution synergies, not only the main hospital systems that we are encouraging, but even other helpers like ASHA workers, Anganwadi workers also taken into consideration, so that we are linking environmental changes with health system as well. So that is the thing which mainly said here. Clear? Is that making any sense? Okay, now let us see the last article of the day. Yeah, title says the Saudi-Pakistan Pact is a dodgy insurance policy. So did we discuss about this in yesterday's class? What we discussed? Saudi Arabia and Pakistan came up with strategy military defense agreement. So what is the agreement says? If any country which is attacking one country will believe that it is attacking both the countries and will try to retaliate that country. So because of that, India is having lots of issues. So till now, Saudi Arabia is silent regarding India-Pakistan relations, India-Pakistan issue of Kashmir. But now Pakistan and Saudi Arabia came up with this agreement. That means now onwards there will be Saudi involvement in Kashmir issue. So Saudi Arabia is leader of Sunni country. That means almost all Sunni countries will listen to the Saudi's word and they will become anti to India. So this is one cause of concern. And one more thing here is most of our oil that we are getting from Russia. Apart from that, we will be getting from West Asian countries. They are nothing but this group of this nation countries. So here again, we are going to have impact on our energy security, guys. So we have to think in this dimensions, okay? So these are the important topics that appeared in our today's Hindi newspaper. By this I'm concluding. Thank you so much, guys, for watching, and please do like this class and share this class. And do subscribe to Rathod Science Academy, don't forget. And you can follow us on our Telegram channel where you can get PDF of this class. And you can follow us on our Instagram page where we are providing prelims question with answer, mains question with model answer, and also current affairs in short. Don't miss, guys.